Becoming a Portuguese citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Hi, I'm NPG, and I help Portuguese descendants all over the world with dual citizenship, guiding them along with our network of experts all the way from here in Lisbon to America, without confusing steps and bureaucratic documents. I know, it's very hard to believe, but you can learn how on our 3-day challenge on becoming a Portuguese dual citizen. Sign up right here. Can you imagine yourself here in the center of Lisbon? Who would you bring? Your family, your friends? Imagine the things you could do with your Portuguese dual citizenship. You could go to the hospital, you could use any of the Medicare that Europe has to offer, you could work and study. This experience of having your citizenship, it's something that is easy. It's not the nightmare you're used to hearing everybody describe, so that you have access to some of these documents, to Portuguese documents that are difficult for you to understand. You'll need a birth certificate, for example, certidão de nascimento, a marriage certificate, and a whole bunch of forms that you need to fill on this process of becoming a Portuguese dual citizen. This team of people you could trust, people that could really take care of you and your citizenship, walk you by the hand all the way through the process. Very knowledgeable lawyers, solicitadores, notários públicos that will help you on this process. And you could ask your questions. Join me backstage on the VIP access pass so that you could ask questions that you have. You can find your path to citizenship, or even if you are a citizen but you want to get the citizenship for your kids and you're wondering what do you need to do, what's the next step, you could ask questions to lawyers, of experts in this area from here in Lisbon, from America, in Portuguese, in English. Being backstage has the advantage of being able to do these questions, to interact with us, to be on the same room and talk back and forward about your process so that we could help you identify your path to citizenship.
Hi guys, I'm Maria Valente and I'm very excited to meet you all at the 3 days challenge by Nelson Pontagarça. I'm sure you learned a lot about how to become a Portuguese citizen and finally make this dream come true. Let's do this and have so much fun on the way. Bye bye, see you all there.
They have done thousands of citizenships, complex cases, so they have the answer for any question that you might have and solve problems that you weren't able to solve up to now because they don't answer the phone or they don't email you at the places you've been trying. And you'll have access to this beautiful team, and I will be here with you, guiding you and helping you. If there's one thing you know I do is I get things done, and I will help you getting your Portuguese dual citizenship. Please join us on our challenge, and if you can, backstage on our VIP access, extraordinary lawyers that will help you on your path to dual citizenship.
Nelson, this is what he's going to do for you. He's going to introduce to you the stress relief of becoming a Portuguese citizen without you having to leave your house. And this is what we need. This is what we need. And only Nelson can do that because he's the only one brave enough to take those steps that stands in the way of all of these people trying to get through and do something good, become Portuguese citizens, especially in Portugal, because it takes decades to get something done. Not only will he make you a citizen of Portugal, but he'll also make you a resident. He's a great real estate developer. But he's not trying to get your money. That's not what it's all about. It's all about his heart, because he wants to help people without spending a lot of money and spending time and stuff like that. Because he's been through it. He knows how long it takes. When I said decades, man, I meant like 200 years back. I mean, we had to go through New York years ago. Now, we don't have to do that because of technology. And then you'll be waving the red, green, and yellow flag, and you'll be going, Heroes do mar, nobre povo, nação.
Your deeply connected at high levels of the Portuguese community globally. And you mentioned with your experience working with the past 4 consulate generals, your connections in media, and certainly in politics, that is something that is priceless. And so if you are working with someone to help you along the way with citizenship, you want someone that can facilitate the path. And part of that, a big part of that, is relationships and making sure that you know exactly where to go and who to talk to. And so it's one thing to kind of know standpoint of paperwork and getting all that done. That's certainly very important, but ultimately the relationships that you have and the ability to talk to people that can help along the way is gonna certainly benefit all of your clients. And with your history in media, certainly with your ability to be organized and work on deadlines and do productions that need to be done, I think that'll certainly help, because, you know, with a lot of stuff like this, time is of the essence. And so being able to work on a schedule with your media background, I think that'll certainly help as well. So I think you're very well suited to help people with this path towards citizenship. And I'm a perfect example. Trying to do it on your own can be extremely frustrating and lead to a lot of dead ends. So it's exciting that you've looked into this service to really help people. And it's more important now more than ever.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our third day of the challenge. Maria is going to turn her mic here in a little bit, and we're gonna start this and trying to make here a wrap up of the whole 3 days. This is the third day. We've been on this since Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have committed to a 3-day Thanksgiving weekend special, and let me tell you, this has been so exciting. We've met people from all over the world. And Maria, I don't know if your mic is working now.
Yes, my mic is working. I'm sorry.
Welcome, Maria, no problem.
Welcome, guys.
We are live.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I hope you're having an amazing Thanksgiving weekend and a great time with your family and friends, as Nelson said. Thank you for joining us in this last day. It was like the other 2 days, yesterday and the previous day, were amazing. We had people from all over the world attending these lives, lawyers in the backstage, a lot of tips of how to become a Portuguese citizen. As we did on the previous days, we are going to have a team of legal experts on the Zoom after this live. So you are very, very welcome to join us on the backstage. You just have to click on the link www.portuguesecitizenship.org/3days challenge and sign up, enter your email, and get VIP access in the end of this live. In the backstage, you have opportunity to have all of your questions answered by legal experts. You can ask questions to great lawyers, experts in different areas, in Portuguese, in English, from Portugal, from America, wherever you want. So we can start by, you can tell us in the comments if we prefer to for us to speak in English or in Portuguese. Which do you prefer? We are both fluent in both languages, so it's totally up to you. And you are also very welcome to type down where are you watching this live, in which part of the world. We would love to know. And also questions that you might have about this process, about how to become a Portuguese citizen, they can be answered in the backstage. So now let's welcome Nelson, but first, we keep supporting Portugal for this World Cup. Next game is Monday, tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Portugal. So I hope you watch the game and let's celebrate Portugal. Now, about Nelson. Nelson is a government advisor, entrepreneur, media producer, documentary director, TV host, writer, and musician. For the past 20 years, he had the opportunity to serve as an advisor to 4 consul generals of Portugal in the United States. He was elected to represent the Portuguese community in America as advisor to the Portuguese government. So all this experience as a government advisor gave him a big network of contacts. So he's going to share with you all the tips to get your Portuguese dual citizenship without all the legal bureaucracy, long waits, confusing steps that you are used to. So don't forget, type down your comments, your questions, where are you, which language do you prefer, and sign up for the backstage in the end of this live. This is the last opportunity, this is the last day of this live, so don't forget to do this. And now let's welcome Nelson. Hello, Nelson, again.
Hello, everybody, and Viva Portugal. Let's really hope they make us proud this time. I know everybody wants them to go far on this World Cup. I don't even say win it. I just say go far, go past the group stages, and go in good fashion, like they just did with that game. Although it was tied 3-2, I thought it was a great game. I'd rather see Portugal play beautiful football like that and, do some mistakes in the back than defend really well and then nothing happens. Digam-nos se quem está a ver, se prefere português, se prefere inglês, para sabermos um bocadinho a nossa audiência, que é variada. Nós estamos aqui em 7 canais, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, e portanto estamos aqui no 3º dia do desafio para aprender a como ser um cidadão português. É disso que se trata, Becoming a Portuguese Citizen. Não é nada complicado, não é, Maria, como se pensa às vezes.
Não é o pesadelo que vocês estão habituados com o Nelson.
É um framework e, sobretudo, porque eu tenho a sorte de conhecer, Maria, algumas das pessoas mais fantásticas que têm feito isto há anos e anos, porque eu também, quando não sabia, fui perguntando e fui vendo e fui aprendendo nestes últimos 15 anos também que tenho andado nestas leads de comunidades portuguesas, desde...
Quase 20.
Sim, eu perco a conta. Aliás, eu estive, este último folgo foram 22 anos e, portanto, esses 22 anos foi sempre ligado à comunidade portuguesa, always connected to the Portuguese community on these past 22 years, because I was born there and then I flew to Portugal and then I went back. Always very connected, and I've learned this process. And on these past 3 days, we've been sharing it with everybody, and it's been great. We had people from all over on our platforms and backstage, so that they could ask questions to the lawyers and our legal team. And I just want to see here on the comments and see, guys. I see a few comments, but I see you're live. I see you're right there, but I need you to comment. Tell us where you're from. Let's put this chat on fire, okay? With your location. I know everybody's proud of their location, whether they're from California. We had a lot of people, surprisingly, maybe not, from Canada. I say surprisingly because I'm more connected. Usually, my network is more with America, but Canada had a huge presence, especially on day one. Day 2 was more mixed, but it's been incredible. Just sharing these tips with you that we're gonna go right on. We have Jorge Matos. Can you help update Portuguese documents in Texas? Yeah. So John, for George, and I'm answering to George. You guys type your questions, your locations. In Texas, it would be pretty much the same as if it would be in any other state of America. One of the first things that you need to be hooked up with is with somebody that does the known procuração. In America, they call it the power of attorney. Don't get scared with the power of attorney, because it's only for whatever you decide that the attorney will represent you. In this case, would be the citizenship. Let me get closer here to my mic so you hear me well. And then that attorney will represent you in Portugal to whatever you want. Citizenship, obtaining legal documents, because without that authorization, of course, we can't get anything from you. It needs to be legal and certified. The lawyer for some cases, in other cases the solicitor will suffice. But we have this framework, a framework to expedite your path to dual citizenship. And what do I mean by framework here? What I mean is that this framework is a series of steps, very well planned, very well studied, with the best people in the industry that does it well. It's not expedited because Portugal has an expedite service, because you can't expedite the citizenship on the sense of paying more to get it to the Portuguese government. They don't have that like they do with passports, for example. You could expedite passport, you pay a little bit more. When I mean expedite, I because I have this question, how can you expedite this? Well, it's about the framework. It's the way we do things. It's how we have some days where some things could be done in a day or two, whatever depends on us, and what doesn't depend on us, we will put a lot of pressure. O que eu quero saber também, Maria, é, são portugueses, luso-descendentes, dominam um pouco da língua portuguesa, quem nos está a ver? Digam-nos.
Diga-nos, já temos aqui um novo comentário, diz Facebook user, não sabemos o nome da pessoa, mas é de West Virginia, living in Michigan. Com outra pergunta, Nelson.
Exato. So this, from West Virginia, living in Michigan, does this apply to descendants of conversos crypto Jews, or is that over? No, it's this program for Judeus Sefarditas is still active. Now, it's not something that we are addressing on this first challenge. We might do a challenge just for that, as we could do a challenge just for golden visas, because these are other ways, or through the Ds. We call it the Ds, the D2, the D6, all the Ds that are people that have no connection with Portugal. We're starting with people that are connected from the parent level, from the grandparents level, and from the spouse level. But again, because we're not addressing that here today, but I want to really shout out to all of you. I love the Jewish community. I worked with them a lot in California, especially with Aristides Sousa-Mendes when we celebrated and celebrated Aristides Sousa-Mendes for all that he's done for in the Jews back when he was a consul general of Paris, and then also he moved to San Francisco. I think he was in San Francisco first. He was a consul general there. So he was very loved in the community of California, but he really did amazing for all the Jews. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the support. You know, it's easier to put down a project, especially when we're giving this information here free of charge, and serving our community with this framework that I've known. And then if you want legal advice, you could buy our backstage access so that you could ask questions to the lawyers. And then we'll be presenting here very soon a framework, all the steps, exactly what does this framework entail, and how could we make this work for you with all the steps by doing it for you. Right now, we're just serving you with public information, with information from lawyers that have been on this for a long time, because now, Maria, I'm going to tell them a little bit about my background, my story,
Okay,
and then
perfect.
we're going to move into the to the steps, and to how they can, the tips, the real almost secrets. They are strong tips, and for many of you they are secrets because you don't know it. It's public domain, but sometimes it takes a long time to know those tips. I like to call them in the legal system. It would be a lot better. Maria, thank you so much.
Okay,
And
I'll see you in a little bit.
go Força Portugal.
Portugal always.
Até já. Muito bem, então vamos começar aqui esta parte do desafio, o último dia do desafio. Digam-me se preferem que eu fale convosco em português ou em inglês. Em espanhol também daria, mas portanto não seria o caso. A nossa audiência, sobretudo nos Estados Unidos da América e Canadá, acho eu. Digam-me de onde é que estão a sintonizar. E eu queria partilhar convosco um pouco da minha história, e vou fazê-lo aqui em inglês também, porque a maioria das pessoas que estão no live connosco falam inglês ou dominam um pouco o português. E, portanto, I'm going to tell you a bit about myself and my path to this before I show you exactly how you could do your citizenship on the best of these 3 days on this challenge. I was born in Los Gatos, California, and when I founded my business in Portugal 5 years ago already, it was a culture shock. Dealing with paperwork in Portugal used to drive me crazy. There's really no words. I have to be honest, truly honest with you. I thought I knew a lot about the Portuguese legal system, but then once you start actually putting your hands on and getting all of your documents, all of your cartão cidadão online, where you could access your cartão, change address, do all these the tips I tell you that are available. They are no secrets, but they are a secret for a lot of you because you don't know it. I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of those, and not only myself, some of the best legal experts in the industry of immigration will be doing that as well. Because for me, it was a never-ending path of paperwork. It seemed like confusing steps, not sure what was the next one. Before you would take a step and would have to go back, get some other documents, only to find out you always needed another paper. You always need another document when you go through these processes. So I started documenting and really writing down every single step and finding the best legal advice I could on each way, so that I could help not only myself, but also help the community I serve as a Conselheiro das Comunidades Portuguesas to help them through the process, because they would complain and tell me all these crazy stories about their citizenship nightmares. So my goal is to show you how I built this proprietary framework that I'm going to show a little bit of it today, and then we're going to release this framework on Monday that could really expedite your citizenship. It took me almost 20 plus years to get this framework and to understand this. And I can't wait to show you how this could work for you, step by step. And if there's something people know about me, people that know me and they could attest to that, is that I get things done. I am not the brightest individual on this planet. I have my flaws, but I do discipline myself to deliver and commit on whatever I promise and what I put my mind into, and that's what I did. And for the past 20 years, I had the amazing opportunity to serve as an advisor for 4 consul generals, and they're there for an average of 4 years each. So you make your math. That's kind of a long time now if I think about it. And I was also elected to represent the Portuguese community on a completely volunteer position where, you don't get paid for that, but you get elected. Each community has their advisor to the consul general that then meet in Portugal yearly. I've been doing that for 7 years, and then you advise the Portuguese government in problems like I'm going to do in a few days with a lot of people that submitted their cases, their applications, and they have not heard from the conservatórios. Some of them have a case number, others don't have a case number, and we were backstage yesterday with a few of you that have case numbers for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and nothing happened, and you don't know the status. So we're gonna dive into that as well. There's something we did on day 1 of the challenge, day 2 of the challenge, now on day 3, and I want to tell you that just a few years ago I was just like you, frustrated with the Portuguese legal system. But now I can teach you how you do this and how you can monitor the progress online. Every step of everything on this framework you could monitor and you could see, from obtaining and translating documents to the many steps that you need to become a Portuguese citizen and getting your Portuguese ID and European passport. Because let me clarify this for you. You need to become a citizen first, and then you apply for your Portuguese ID and your passport. One thing that is important also is that you might already be a Portuguese citizen, and you're like, okay, I'm interested in this. I'm already a citizen. I was born there, but I have no documents. So I came to Portugal when I was very young, or my documents are expired and I've never worked on them. But if you were born in Portugal, it's very easy, because we just have to get your birth certificates and a few more documents that prove that relationship, and then you could get your ID and your passport from there. Others, they are entitled to the Portuguese citizenship because through their parents, grandparents, spouse, or many other paths. We're going to focus on these 3 for now, but they've never done it. So technically, they are not a legal Portuguese citizen in the sense that they don't have their ID, and the Portuguese government doesn't know that you are Portuguese, because I know you consider yourself Portuguese. You love the national team, and you support all the organizations, and you experience the language sometimes, but you just haven't done that process of letting Portugal know and having Portugal approve you as a Portuguese citizen, because there's some documents that you need to show for that. Many of you thought of this, never done it before. And I think this is the time, because Portugal is so popular that it's only going to get worse. It's only going to take more time. And we have some consulates and embassies that work great. We have others that don't work great. And it's only going to get worse. So I'm going to start sharing here with you some tips. But I want to see kind of where everybody's standing at. I have here Facebook user telling me English. Okay, I'm on it. I'm on the English. Where do we start? So one of the great ways is you can log in here PortugueseCitizenship.org. Then you'll go to an opt-in page that will ask your email so that we can send you information on how to do this. So if you're watching us, send us an email here. If you're watching this because you've already gotten that email, we know that we're really good with following up every step of the way. And then you could decide after, you could go backstage after this live, meet be with us, asking questions in private, so that you could expose your case. It's basically a Zoom meeting, or you could just go to our site and take the steps from there and see, because we're going to show you each step. So the first step is usually getting your birth certificates, the power of attorney, but we have that all lined up very, very nicely, very professionally, with estimated due dates and deadlines and responsibilities assigned. George Match, can you help? Okay, we had seen George. Yes, we could help, and it's cool to see so many people in moving to Texas from different states. Texas and Florida are two states with a lot of internal migration. West Virginia, yes, we had addressed that. I'm just going through because I want to see where you guys comment here. I see that you're live. Tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're interested. And especially tell me how I could serve you, how I could help you on this process, because this is the very last day, day 3. So you guys type in your comments, and StreamYard is doing the best it can. Sometimes it doesn't grab the comments, but I see a lot of them here. Sorry if your photo is not on this one, to better identify you on some of them, and just remind you again where you should go to opt in. Just send us your email so that we could tell you exactly how this framework works, how this works. And now I'm going to start sharing with you some testimonials of our legal experts that could really, really help you on this, so that we have, so we have Idaho in the house, we have France, England. So let's type in, share this with friends that you think might want to use this or learn something from this. And I'm gonna get right to it right now, because we're at 27 minutes and we have another 25 minutes to show you different paths. So I'm gonna start here with a testimonial that we have on one of the days of the challenge that I think is very important to show you how something could be done easily in Portugal sometimes, that even in America. Would you believe that?
Portugal, for an attorney, it's relatively easy to get I would say very easy, indeed, to get a birth certificate, a death certificate, a marriage certificate. We can do it online, or if we go personally to any conservatoria, they give the document the same day to us. So that's an advantage. And it's cheap. If you do it online, it's 10 euros per certificate. If you go in person to the conservatoria, it's 20 euros. So, either way, it's not expensive. And we get it very, very fast. In America, it's totally different. For example, I have an associate in California. I needed a birth certificate from California, and it took like over a month to get the birth certificate. We had to provide my associate a power of attorney so he could act on behalf of the client. And the whole process cost like over $500. So it's something that there's no comparison whatsoever with the system here in Portugal. If we are talking about son to a father, it's a very easy proceeding. We need a power of attorney stating that it's given to me powers, for example, to represent the person at the conservatoria to get the person the Portuguese citizenship. The power of attorney is the first thing to do. The second thing is to get an American birth certificate. It cannot be a copy. It's got to be certified. It's got to be a certified copy, an authentic document, and it's got to be apostilled. It's got to be apostilled by the state, in this case, California. If it is New Jersey, New Jersey. If it is Massachusetts, Massachusetts. It's got to be apostilled by the state. If the birth certificate it's not apostilled by the state, the process or the proceeding will not be accepted at the conservatoria. So it's the power of attorney, the birth certificate of the applicant, and the birth certificate of the father or the mother. We can get it in Portugal, like I was saying a little while ago, on an easy way.
I just want to give a shout out to lawyer Nelson Trezo. He is right now in New Jersey, United States, releasing his book on law. He's a very experienced lawyer. He's been doing this, especially in the New Jersey area. They know him very well. He does many TV appearances there, and has been working for years and years on these cases. So let us go back now to California, the other coast, where there's a very, very, very good friend, a prominent lawyer in that area, very well known in the community, Paul Menezes. And Paul shares a little bit the difficulty that people, at least in the Los Angeles area and the Southern California, have when they try to get and obtain Portuguese documents. And if that's your case, let us know. Let us know what's your experience, and if you're feeling the same thing that Paul is going to describe here right now.
The hardest part, I think, is gathering all the proper documents, number one, and then number two, having the proper documents in an acceptable legal format that will be accepted in Portugal. So that becomes the biggest question that people, they get frustrated with. The other part of it is sometimes people don't have access to all these documents. Maybe it was their grandfather, so they're doing a grandparent to grandchild citizenship, and they can't find a birth certificate. They can't find a marriage certificate. They can't find certain documents. Or maybe the parents are alive, but they don't have the documents and they need to obtain an assentment in Portugal. Well, how do we do that?
Yeah, how do you do that? If you have those questions, let us know in the chat. I'm going to see, maybe that's not one of your questions, but you want to know how you could really expedite and get your kids to be Portuguese. I think this is one of the main things that people look. First of all, being Portuguese doesn't mean that you will have to renounce to your American or Canadian or citizenship. It means that you have a dual citizenship. You have your two passports, your two IDs, and with that comes benefits and responsibilities, of course. And Nelson is going to tell you a bit about that path and how could it be super easy, super fast. Here it comes.
I work with a certain Conservatório do Registro Civil. They work relatively fast. I would say it takes like from 1 month to 3 months. But if I go to a Conservatório Centrais, it's going to take forever. So it's not an option. The Conservatório Centrais, that's the last resort, we should go to the Conservatório of Registro Civil that has legal power to do so. I named a few: Coimbra, Évora, Ponta Delgada, but there are more. Alcobaça, there are more. Over 25, 30 probably that take care of the Portuguese citizenship application. 2-3 months. I had a case that took only 2 weeks. It all depends, and it all depends how many applications they have there. It all depends, but it's a lot quicker, that's for sure, than it is in the Conservatórios dos Centrais.
Yes, so these are the tips I was telling you about in the beginning of the challenge, in the last day of the challenge. Now today we've been on this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is through parents. Now you're wondering, well, that's not my case, but what if my parents were not Portuguese? They were already born in America or Canada or elsewhere in our diaspora. The Portuguese are in more than 152 countries. It's incredible, our presence throughout the world. We were some of the first from João Rodrigues Cabrillo back in 1542 in California, when you only had the natives living there, then to the Newfoundland England, all the way to Australia. Now our good friend historian has a great thesis on how the Portuguese were the first in Australia. So we've been in many countries for a long time. Then other countries like Europe it's a more recent migration. But in the Americas especially, and in Canada, we've been there for a long time, going all the way back to Goa and Macau. I have many friends there as well that have a hard time with these citizenships because it goes back further. So if it goes back further, well, don't let it go back more than your grandparents. And that's why I urge you to do this, because if when your generation is gone, then maybe your kids are very interested in doing this, and then they can't because it expired, in a sense. That's a simple term I used to just to show you that you can no longer qualify to be a Portuguese citizen, and maybe they will really want that even more than you. So if that's the case of trying to seek dual citizenship through your grandparents, here's some tips.
If the applicant wants to do it directly through the grandfather or grandmother, there are some requirements, extra requirements, like having a close relationship with the local Portuguese community. Another requirement is to know the Portuguese language. If it doesn't know the Portuguese language, it has to prove that it has contacts with the Portuguese clubs, the Portuguese community at large, let me put it this way. And it has to present the confirmation of that relationship. For example, the Portuguese Club of Yonkers issues a document stating that this person comes to the club, is pretty much involved with the club's activities, and has a big part in the club's organization or activity or whatsoever. If not, for example, let's suppose that the grandchild has been living in Portugal for the last 5 years. That's easier because it's easy to prove that I've been living in Portugal for the last 5 years. So it's easy. But the thing is, it's got to be proven. Unlike the other case, the father to son, the son to father, or daughter to father or mother, and the mother to daughter. That's very simple because just a birth certificate, the power of attorney, and that's it. And the case is solved. Not with the grandchildren. The grandchildren, the law requires some more things to comply with.
All right, so we covered a bit about tips if you want to do it through grandparents. Now, you're asking me, well, I can't do it through parents, I can't do it through grandparents now. Well, we have another option we're covering on this challenge, which is through spouses. So, for example, I know many friends that married with, for example, in California, the Mexican community is very strong, a lovely community, very close to us in many different cultural things. And there's a lot of people that married somebody of Mexican nationality. Or, for example, on the East Coast, Latin communities like Puerto Rico, Cuba, or others, even Asian. You see that combination, especially in Hawaii a lot, the Portuguese, Japanese, Portuguese, Korean, Portuguese, Filipino, and you want to try that path. So here's some advice on how to do that.
Spouse has to give the criminal background because if let's suppose that the applicant was convicted of a crime with jail for 3 years. He won't qualify. He will not be eligible to be a Portuguese citizen. So they ask for the criminal background, the proof of marriage. If the couple is not married, has to go to court to prove that they were living together for the last 3 years. It's much more demanding when it comes to the couple.
Okay.
Well, if the applicant was convicted for a crime that predicts 3 years in jail, automatically that applicant is excluded. So he doesn't qualify, he's not eligible to be a Portuguese citizen. That's an example that I'm giving. Obviously, we're talking about crimes with some significance, or some complexity. Obviously, if we get a ticket, a speeding ticket, obviously that's not the case. We're 3 years in jail. It's got to be a significant crime rate. I'm not saying murder or anything else, but it's got to be a significant crime rate.
Yes, so here's the third path. We are covering these three. So 3 days of challenge, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've been here. Olá a todos, estão a entrar agora, a sintonizar agora. Deixem aqui os seus comentários. Um bom domingo a todos. Espero que estejam todos bem. Obrigado pelo apoio nestes 3 dias. Tem sido fantástico, com pessoas por todo o lado. Vou trazer aqui a Maria, para mais uma vez, nunca é muito
Hello
para quem
again.
agora. Portugal e segunda-feira.
Always.
Este jogo. Maria, vais ver o jogo de Portugal onde?
Em princípio, num café. À boa maneira portuguesa, não é?
Pá,
Com
eu
amigos, a beber um fino, porque eu sou do Norte.
E no Norte, onde é que se vê um bom jogo? Where do you see the soccer games in the north of Portugal?
No Porto, temos alguns cafés no centro da cidade, onde as pessoas se reúnem nas esplanadas a ver o jogo assim num ecrã grande. E é muito bom, porque estamos todos a torcer pelo mesmo.
É um espírito de sente-se Portugal, sobretudo nessas alturas, como se sentiu agora na Califórnia com a visita do Sr. Presidente da República a Portugal, toda a gente se juntou, sente-se quando a seleção nacional, portanto, quando existem estes grandes elementos de Portugalidade, acho que toda a gente tira o seu traje, o seu cascola, põe a bandeira à janela, e it's an awesome feeling when the soccer team, I think it brings this Portugality in you, for sure. So what game are you excited to see the most, Maria? The second or the third?
What?
Os jogos, qual é o jogo que achas que vai ser mais difícil? O segundo ou o terceiro? O primeiro foi difícil, mas passou.
Nós temos um jogo agora na segunda-feira, amanhã, e o terceiro é na sexta-feira, para quem quiser saber também. So on Friday at the same hour in Portugal, so 7 p.m. Ambos. Vai ser um desafio. Mas estamos aqui sempre a apoiar Portugal.
Let's see how it goes, and if it goes the same way it went really well. Maria, we're going to be here for a little bit more. Our life is almost over, and then in maybe 10-15 minutes we'll go backstage. So they could join us backstage. They could join you, right?
I'm going to be backstage with you. So guys, don't forget to sign up to be with us on backstage. I promise you shouldn't miss it, because we're gonna have a team of legal experts to answer all your questions here. Nelson will give you a lot of tips, and he already gave you a lot of tips, but if you want to show your case and to tell about your particular case, don't miss this opportunity. You just have to go to this website, www.portuguesecitizenship.org, and sign up, enter your email, and come have fun with us and see your path to your Portuguese dual citizenship. I'd also like to ask you to type down where are you, in which part of the world, because we already have here some people from Idaho, England, West Virginia, but I believe we have people from all over the world, and we can be here a little community together and interact with each other. It will be very, very good. So don't miss the rest of the live. It's almost ending, and I will be with you in the backstage to welcome you to the second part of this live. See you there. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Maria. Thank you. She will be back there hosting you on the start of our backstage. That it will be here very soon. Now, before that, I want to give you more value. But to give you more value on the very last day of this 3-day challenge, you have to tell me where you're from. Type on the live here on Facebook Live. Also, if we're on YouTube or LinkedIn, type any question that you have, anything that you would like to be seen. This is the very last day of the 3 days of our life, and we just provided you value by serving your needs of citizenship with the 3 paths that we have. Now we're going to have here, before we show you a framework, we're going to show you this framework on how we can make it easier. Before we do that and end our life, we're going to see a tip here from Duarte Silva from Stanford. He is emeritus professor, a very knowledgeable person, very passionate about our Portuguese community, and he's going to share a bit about some tips if your documents were lost or you haven't heard from Portugal. One of the things that he advises that you could do.
I really think it's much better to resubmit it. Because if you put a tracer on it, it's going to take another 3 years, okay? And documents do get lost, okay? They get lost if they were filed in a consulate office or they were filed, whatever they were filed at, somehow they get lost in the shuffle. Same thing happens here with the Secretary of State. When I go and request an apostille, and a month goes by, 2 months goes by, and I don't hear anything. If I put a tracer on it, it's going to take 6 months to a year for them to investigate to see where those papers are. I don't do that. I immediately refile again. And when I do any kind of document that requires an apostille from Sacramento, I have the individual, when I meet with the individual to notarize the request, I immediately have them sign 2 or 3 copies. Because, believe it or not, the paperwork, the filings get lost in the system.
And we're starting to get ready here backstage, and I want to share with you a little bit of what's happening here. We have our group here already in the back, and in Zoom we have Senhora Manuela that is there already, and I'm going to bring you a testimonial of somebody that has tremendous experience on this area. She served more than 12 consul generals throughout these years. You do the math, if the average is 4 or 5 years, how long that was. She's retired from that. But again, she wants to come and serve and help, give you tips, give you ideas, answer questions. And she's ready backstage right there. Maria's already there. If you want to join us, just click on PortugueseCitizenship.org. And I'm going to leave you with a testimonial. Now it's in Portuguese, but it's a short testimonial of her, some tips that she has also, and you could get to know her a little bit better, so you could meet her backstage for some questions as well.
Eu entrei ao serviço no consulado em 1971 e reformei-me há 10 anos. Portanto, foram anos de muita experiência e experiências diferentes, quero eu dizer, e anos bons em contato com a comunidade portuguesa da área do Consulado Geral de Portugal em São Francisco, uma área enorme, e foram anos, como eu disse, muito bons. Eu não servi com senhoras, foi tudo senhores. O meu primeiro foi o Dr. Campos Alves, e em 1971, e daí para cá tive muitas pessoas, que todos nós somos diferentes. Os funcionários é que têm que se adaptar ao novo cônsul-geral, mas não houve problemas, trabalhámos bem, foram anos de muita aprendizagem.
Muito bem, e a senhora Manuela já está aqui no backstage, pronta para também ajudar e servir aqui com algumas questões. Backstage porquê? Porque são questões mais privadas, more private questions that you might have on this process. We're ready on the other Zoom call, and I'm going to be there very soon. Now, I really want to thank everybody for joining this 3-day challenge. We've had an incredible experience on this Thanksgiving season to give back, a season to connect with our Portuguese, and I love to connect with the Portuguese for years. Throughout my existence, I've dedicated my life to the Portuguese communities, with documentaries, with RTP work, with different things, with books, now helping to clear this path to citizenship. and we can't wait to meet you backstage. Tomorrow, we're going to also share with you, so opt in our site, and I'm going to throw it right here. If you want to stay informed, if you want to know what this framework is, tomorrow you could have access to this complete framework to help you expedite your path to dual citizenship. I'm NPG. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to leave you here with a few testimonials before we go backstage. We're going to get ready to get here backstage. We could already see here our backstage right there on the Zoom call. So you guys join us on this backstage. Many of you, I see that you've signed up. This is the time to start getting ready. We're about 10 minutes away to start our session there. So I can't wait to meet you there. And I really hope that this 3-day challenge was beneficial to you. I have to confess, I was a little bit nervous before I did this because this is a new project, but I got so excited. I had one of those aha moments where I, after spending a lot of time by the ocean in Portugal and Azores, particularly where my ancestors and my roots are, I went back to America fully motivated and driven to help you and to do this. So thank you for being here. If there's any questions that you want specifically answered, join us backstage. And in the meantime, have a great Thanksgiving weekend. And I really hope that Portugal goes far on this World Cup. Thank you so much for your support and for being on these challenges. I really appreciate you. Obrigado, muito obrigado.
You're deeply connected at high levels of the Portuguese community globally. And you mentioned with your experience working with the past 4 consulate generals, your connections in media, and certainly in politics, that is something that is priceless. And so if you are working with someone to help you along the way with citizenship, you want someone that can facilitate the path, and part of that, a big part of that, is relationships and making sure that you know exactly where to go and who to talk to. And so it's one thing to kind of know standpoint of paperwork and getting all that done. That's certainly very important, but ultimately the relationships that you have and the ability to talk to people that can help along the way is gonna certainly benefit all of your clients. And with your history in media, certainly with your ability to be organized and work on deadlines and do productions that need to be done, I think that'll certainly help, because with a lot of stuff like this, time is of the essence. And so being able to work on a schedule with your media background, I think that'll certainly help as well. So I think you're very well suited to help people with this path towards citizenship. And I'm a perfect example. Trying to do it on your own can be extremely frustrating and lead to a lot of dead ends. So it's exciting that you've looked into this service to really help people. And it's more important now more than ever.
I have collaborated and worked with and witnessed firsthand your diligence, your interest in working with the Portuguese community, and even more so to trying to bridge the two communities, the community in Portugal, the community in the United States, the Luso descendant community in the United States. I always have found you to be incredible in terms of the work ethic. Your character is one that is to be admired, and you're a doer. You facilitate the process. You always have the goal in mind of, again, building bridges between the community in Portugal, or the communities in Portugal, and the communities in the United States, and literally bringing them together in different ways. I believe that this new idea that you have in helping individuals to acquire citizenship, bring them closer to their roots in Portugal, that is one that is needed. You are the ideal individual to do that, because you understand the mindset of the people in Portugal. You understand the mindset of the institutions that will facilitate this process for individuals to become citizenships, and you also understand the mindset of the candidates that will be availing themselves of this process. So in my eyes, you are an ideal candidate to go in this direction and create the pathways for individuals in the United States to become citizens or establishing residence or retiring in Portugal, and also to facilitate the process in Portugal to be more sensitive to the needs of our residents in the United States and the reasons that they really want to reconnect with their roots in Portugal.
Well, Nelson, you and I have known each other.
Nelson, this is what he's going to do for you. He's going to introduce to you the stress relief of becoming a Portuguese citizen without you having to leave your house. And this is what we need. This is what we need. And only Nelson can do that because he's the only one brave enough to take those steps that stands in the way of all of these people trying to get through and do something good, become Portuguese citizens, especially in Portugal, because it takes decades to get something done. Not only will he make you a citizen of Portugal, but he'll also make you a resident. He's a great real estate developer, but he's not trying to get your money. That's not what it's all about. It's all about his heart, because he wants to help people without spending a lot of money and spending time and stuff like that, because he's been through it. He knows how long it takes. When I said decades, man, I meant like 200 years back. I mean, we had to go through New York years ago. Now, we don't have to do that because of technology. And then you'll be waving the red, green, and yellow flag, and you'll be going, Heroes do mar, nobre povo, nação.
All right, and we're about to go to the stream. They're back there already with our group, and I want to thank you again for being on this live. Obrigado a todos, bom fim de semana, bom domingo, e terminou os 3 dias de desafio em tornarem-se cidadãos portugueses. I hope you really learned something from this. Opt in our page, www.portuguesecitizen.com and portuguesecitizenship.org, nelsonpg.com. Please connect with us to make sure that we can help you on this path to dual citizenship. I'm NPG. Thank you so much. Becoming a Portuguese citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Hi, I'm NPG, and I help Portuguese descendants all over the world with dual citizenship, guiding them along with our network of experts all the way from here in Lisbon to America, without confusing steps and bureaucratic documents. I know, it's very hard to believe, but you can learn how on our 3-day challenge on becoming a Portuguese dual citizen. Sign up right here. Can you imagine yourself here in the center of Lisbon? Who would you bring? Your family, your friends? Imagine the things you could do with your Portuguese dual citizenship. You could go to the hospital, you could use any of the Medicare that Europe has to offer, you could work and study. This experience of having your citizenship, it's something that is easy. It's not the nightmare you're used to hearing everybody describe, so that you have access to some of these documents, to Portuguese documents that are difficult for you to understand. You'll need a birth certificate, for example, certidão de nascimento, a marriage certificate, and a whole bunch of forms that you need to fill on this process of becoming a Portuguese dual citizen. This team of people you could trust, people that could really take care of you and your citizenship, walk you by the hand all the way through the process. Very knowledgeable lawyers, solicitadores, notários públicos that will help you on this process. And you could ask your questions. Join me backstage on the VIP access pass so that you could ask questions that you have. You can find your path to citizenship, or even if you are a citizen but you want to get the citizenship for your kids and you're wondering what do you need to do, what's the next step, you could ask questions, lawyers, of experts in this area from here in Lisbon, from America, in Portuguese, in English. Being backstage has the advantage of being able to do these questions, to interact with us, to be on the same room and talk back and forward about your process so that we could help you identify your path to citizenship.
Hi guys, I'm Maria Valente and I'm very excited to meet you all at the 3 Days Challenge by Nelson Fontagarça. I'm sure you learned a lot about how to become a Portuguese citizen and finally make this dream come true. Let's do this and have so much fun on the way. Bye bye, see you all there.
They have done thousands of citizenships, complex cases, so they have the answer for any question that you might have and solve problems that you weren't able to solve up to now because they don't answer the phone or they don't email you at the places you've been trying. And you'll have access to this beautiful team, and I will be here with you, guiding you and helping you. If there's one thing you know I do is I get things done, and I will help you getting your Portuguese dual citizenship. Please join us on our challenge, and if you can, backstage on our VIP access, extraordinary lawyers that will help you on your path to dual citizenship.